Marvell suffered a similar fate to AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA, in the sense that the company growth slowed this quarter. By the way, not terrible, but actually record revenue, but just not fast enough for the street and their desire for the company's growth. They came in over $1.5 billion, 27% year-on-year growth, but came up a little short from what the street had hoped for the company. And then their guidance also came up a little bit short. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say this now. I'm going to say it again. I've been saying it for a while. Marvell has had an amazing couple of years. And of course, some of what happened in the pandemic fueled its growth, pull forward. But the inventory issues did not escape any company. And despite the fact that Marvell is well positioned with minimum exposure to the consumer business, thanks to Matt Murphy's leadership and the turn of the company to be more focused on, the segments like cloud, 5G, enterprise, automotive, they still weren't completely able to escape the fact that companies did stock up, and they stocked up, and now they're burning off inventory with slowing demand. We're seeing the inflation number turn this week. We heard from the Fed. This could be a good news, but this is that inflection point. This is that moment. And for Matt Murphy, it was the time, and his team, the time to guide down temporarily, get the street's expectations tempered, and then hit the reset button. But I want to be clear. I mean, record revenue, 32% growth in data infrastructure, still guiding to 32% growth. This is not a company, in my opinion, that anybody really should be worried about. This is a byproduct of the overall broader market conditions. I mean, a couple more stats, Pat. 52% year-on-year enterprise network growth, carrier infrastructure up 26%, automotive and industrial revenue up 26% for the quarter. So again, a lot of things going well for the company, but this is the conditions that the market are facing right now. Everybody wants guiding up, can't always guide up. Sometimes you do have to reset. And this has been a quarter for a lot of tech companies to reset. Semiconductors not in vogue, but you know what? You can't run any of this software on air. That's why we like what AWS is doing. That's why I like what Marvell is doing. And I think this is more of a blip than a long-term problem for a company that's doing most things right. And by the way, we'll be there next week for their Industry Analyst Day. We'll hear more.
Yeah, Dan, I was going to say we're going to be able to get underneath this because, and I had a little bit of a challenge trying to simplify this, because when I see all the infrastructure plays like Cisco, HPE, Lenovo crushing it on enterprise, and then I see Marvell going down, I still can't completely foot that yet. And maybe it has something to do with inventory that the infrastructure OEMs were sitting on. I need to go and do a little bit more work on this before I weigh in on that. But what I do want to stand back and remind everybody that in 5 years, their stock has gone up 89%. And that includes the doldrums of this year. The stock went as high as $88 before the big crash of 2022. And I think that is a testament, first of all, to the superior leadership capabilities of Matt Murphy and his team, but also some pretty decisive actions, shedding 90% of its consumer play, acquiring 2 to 3 companies, not only just to, listen, you never, I mean, padding is the wrong word, but to add short-term revenue, buying companies like Inphi that has it set for the next 5 years, moving from copper to light. So I like what the company does. I like its focus. I like that it's hanging in there and hanging in there, not in a point of weakness, but up there competing head to head with companies like Intel, NVIDIA, Broadcom, and now AMD with its Pensando play, and some of the ways that its FPGAs are competing in this same space in like 5G. So looking forward more, Dan, you and I have one-on-ones that are set up that I'm looking forward. It's been about 6 months since we touched base. I've touched base with Matt, but overall, a really good play.